All right, you've all been asking for a more advanced trick tutorial, so I'm going to teach you something, all right? I'm going to do it. You've twisted my arm, I'm doing it, all right? Jeez. I mean, seriously, I'm doing it, okay? Yo, what's up, guys? Jason Ma the Magician, and welcome back to the 365 Days of Magic Challenge. Day number 52, baby. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you, the audience, the subscribers that have affectionately called this trick the Joker trick. I'm going to teach it to you right now. What is the Joker trick, you ask? Well, let me show you. Alright, so for this all you need is a regular deck of playing cards, no gimmicks, no extras, nothing like that. Just don't throw away your jokers, okay? You're going to need them for this trick. Now if you were here, you could say stop wherever you want as I riffled my thumb along, and we would put those two cards exactly where you said stop. So now the jokers are face up in the middle of the deck. Now here's the deal. You're going to name a card, and whichever card you name is going to appear sandwiched in between the two jokers, okay? Whichever card you name will appear sandwiched in between the two jokers. Now since you're not here, I'm just going to get a card randomly selected from this deck. So check it out. Whee! This one here. The 7 of clubs, and these are all different. It's not a whole deck of 7 of clubs, and that card is now already sandwiched between the two jokers. Check it out. It's done. One of the jokers has ridden to the top, one has sunk to the bottom, and sure enough, sandwiched in the middle somewhere is a 7 of clubs. How cool is that, man? Of course, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, Jace, I thought that the jokers would be in the center of the pack and that card would be in the middle. So we'll just do it that way, fine. And it's done. Check it out, a joker has disappeared from the top of the deck. It's disappeared from the bottom of the deck, and sure enough, sandwiched in between two jokers in the center of the deck is just one card. We can get rid of these, we can get rid of these, and you can see one card and one card only, the 7 of clubs. And that's what I'm teaching you today. Now, ordinarily for this trick, you're not going to need to have 2 decks because you can just ask your spectator what card they're thinking of, you know what I mean? And then it appears in between the two jokers. Now, before we dive into the tutorial, make sure that you smash like if you haven't already and subscribe, okay? I know it seems redundant to ask every time, but if I don't ask, I don't receive, because I don't have that many regular viewers that watch this channel. So if you're new, every bit of interaction helps, you know what I'm saying? Now, I think the best way to teach this trick is to break it up into 3 parts. You see, there are 2 sleight of hand moves that you need to know in order to do the trick. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to teach you both those sleight of hand moves first. Then I'm going to teach you the routine. That way I don't have to like explain it or over explain it as I go. You picking up what I'm putting down? I should also mention that this trick, it's not called the Joker trick. It's called the Smiling Mule by Roy Walton, published in 1979. So you're about to learn a piece of history that you can use to fool your friends. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first move that you're going to have to learn is something known as the turnover pass, and it looks like this. If we were to get a card selected at random, in this case the Jack of clubs, all I would have to do is turn the deck over, and sure enough that Jack would be on the bottom of the deck. Now this move is a little bit difficult, but it's not too difficult. You'll be able to learn it after a little bit of practice. Just make sure you use a mirror so you can get your angles right. But just remember that this trick relies on like the misdirection of you talking to your spectators. You'd execute the move while they're sort of looking at you and chatting with you. You feeling me? You feeling me? Alright, so to execute the move is pretty simple. I hold the deck in this position. This is a very standard way to hold a deck. It's known as dealer's grip. 3 fingers along one end, this pointer at the front to stop the deck from sliding forward, and my thumb just along this edge here holding everything neatly together. Now what I'm going to do to execute the move is that I'm going to lift up this portion here, and essentially what's happening is I'm levering the bottom portion out as I place this one down in the single motion of turning it all over. Now I know that seems complicated, but I'm going to break it down for you so it's really easy to follow. So the first thing is hold it in your standard position like this. Right? Now what's going to happen is that you're going to find about halfway in the deck, you're just going to have your pinky separating the 2 packs, okay? So holding it the same way, and then my pinky just slightly curls in more so I can hold the 2 packets separately like this. Now from here, if I lever up this top packet like this, okay, I don't want to lever it up like that and so you can still see this. I want to lever it forward so it covers the front edge of that bottommost pack, okay? So I lever it forward, and then these fingers here, under the cover of this leverage, are just going to pull down like this, okay? So I'm pulling it down and then like kind of monkey fisting it so that I can then extend and open this packet out. So under the cover, it'll look like this, okay? I'm just going to move my hand out of the way. I'm going to go like that until it clears this frontmost packet. Now from here, the frontmost packet just goes back down, and you just close everything up and complete the turnover. So altogether, it's going to look like this. It goes up, up, lever out, down, and just turn everything over together. Does that make sense? I'm going to give you guys a different angle. So this is what it looks like from my perspective when I'm holding the deck, okay? I'm holding it in that dealer's grip that we mentioned before. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up the frontmost packet. I pull down, mostly with the pinky, but those back fingers are working overtime. I pull it down until it clears. I bring this packet down like that. And then my thumb is just going to kind of push it all together like this. But in a singular motion, it's just going to look like this. You can see that this hand here also helps guide this frontmost packet as it turns over to make sure that I can just kind of align everything nice and neatly. Now the secret sauce to keep in mind is that this front packet is acting as a shield. You can see I kind of grip it in this way that this pointer finger touches the back, my middle finger reaches to the front, and everything closes together like this. This allows me to hide the back packet. You won't see it going. You see what I mean? I get to cover everything up and have it move behind, and then when I align everything up, it just simply looks like you turn the deck over. To speed, it should just look like you're turning the deck over. Now imagine at this point, some of you might have already given up, but for those of you that have stuck around, legends. Now that's pretty much all I've got to say on the turnover pass, okay? That's the main move. You're going to be using it twice in this routine, so make sure that you practice it, use a mirror. Look, honestly, it's not a hard move, and it's something that you can super easily get away with just while you're chatting, you know? Like, you can do a very sloppy job of it and still get away with it, so don't stress. All right, so up next is the cull. Now the cull is actually easier to learn but harder to master than the turnover pass, so just get your deck of cards ready. We're going to dive straight into it. Now the cull essentially looks like this. When you're spreading through the cards, you find a card you want to cull. In this case, it's the queen. And all you have to do is watch here. I can spread the cards like that, and sure enough, that queen is now controlled to the top of the deck. It's literally that easy. That's what it looks like, man. It's crazy. Whee! Now to do it, okay, imagine that you're just spreading through the cards normally. This is a pretty standard way to spread. I'm not going to go into how to spread cards. But what you're going to do is you're going to spread them in your hands like this, and then find a card that you want. Let's say in this case, the 2 of hearts. What I'm going to do is the next card over, I'm going to place on top of the 2 of hearts, trying to align them as much as possible. And then these fingers are just going to pull that 2 all the way across underneath the deck. You can see I just kind of walk it all the way across until it's cleared. And then the rest of the cards just get threaded in over the top of it. And then that 2 will have risen through to the top of the deck. So altogether, it's just going to be spread, 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 spread. I want the 4. I'm going to place the next card over on top of it. I pull it across. And then I spread the rest of the cards through over the top of it, feeding it all the way to the top of the deck. It's literally like that. So that's pretty much how it's done, like in a nutshell. I don't want to go into it too much because if I over-explain it, it's going to get too confusing. But I do have one piece of advice with the cull. Now that piece of advice is, if you spread through the cards and you do the cull and you do it front on like this, there's a good chance people will see it underneath like this. So what you want to do is you want to turn the spread as if you're trying to make it look easier for them to see. You want to turn it like this. That way when you do the move, it's going to be hidden, because if it's front on, you can kind of see it there. But if you do it like this, you can't see it at all, and it ends up being a really nice, clean piece of sleight of hand. All right, so now that you've mastered those 2 moves, I can now explain the routine to you like we're bros. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know all the moves. So I can just explain it to you, nice and simple. So let's get into it. All right, so for the routine, you're just going to take the 2 jokers and you're just going to ask your spectator to say stop. In fact, you can even hand them the jokers and you can ask them to say stop and then have them put them exactly where they said stop. They really do just go in the middle. And now at this point here, you're just going to explain to them. In a second, and as you spread through the cards, you're going to do this, okay? In a second, you're going to name a card, any card you want, and it's going to appear in between the 2 jokers. That's what I do. And the reason why I spread through the cards like this is so that it justifies me then putting my pinky in between, getting ready for the turnover pass, right? So again, the jokers are in the middle. I say to my spectator, in a second, you're going to name a card. I spread all the way to the jokers and I separate the jokers. And then I say to them, whatever card you name will appear in between the 2 jokers. And now at this point here, as soon as I close the deck up, I then do the move. I do the turnover pass, and then I just say to them again, name the card, any card you want. Let's say in this case they said the 6 of hearts. I would say no worries. I snap the fingers. I can then reveal that one joker has traveled to the top, one has traveled to the bottom, and somewhere in between them is the 6 of hearts. And at this point here, you always get a bit of like a laugh, like a bit of a pity laugh, and it's a nice thing to kind of mess with them, like have a laugh, like, ah, yeah, haha. And as you're messing with them, you're then going to execute the cull. I pull that 6 of hearts all the way to the bottom, so it's now underneath that bottommost joker. And I'm doing this while I'm having a laugh with them, like, ah, ha, ha, ha. And then straight away, I execute another turnover pass. And now what has essentially happened is I've actually now turned over past that 6 in between those two jokers, but they don't know that. They still think that a joker's on the top and that there's a joker on the bottom. You're having a laugh with them. And at this point here, you go, you probably thought it was somewhere in the middle, right? Like the two jokers would be in the middle and that card would be in between them. So I'll do that instead. And you just snap your fingers and then you show that it's not on the top, not on the bottom, and you can just spread straight through until you find them. I like to push them out jogged like this so they're sticking in the deck, and I even let them take it out. They take it out, they look at it, it's their card, they absolutely freak out. I guarantee you it's gonna blow some mind holes. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you did, get this video to 2,000 likes, and I'll teach you some more intermediate/advanced magic. But until then, good night.
Call me Bucky, lucky that I'm innocent. If I didn't have no moguls, I'd be menacing.